Bryan Cooper, rising star at the Irish weighing room with the racing world at his feet. But it's a foot, his right one, that some have said he's lucky to still have after a bone-snapping fall. Only 21, Cooper is on a roller coaster of highs and lows. The adrenaline-pumping buzz of 3 winners at the 2013 Cheltenham Festival, a 4th in the Grand National, was followed by the dejection of a broken femur at Down Royal. 4 months later he was back and would be handed the plum job as first rider for Jigginstown House Stud. Then Clarkham fell, leaving the jockey with just future Grade 1 hopes and memories to keep him sane.
Late spare for Bryan Cooper. Gordon Elliott's Roy de Mee has cracked Grade 1 company. He's taken the JNY.
Inside though, trying hard to come back. Our Vigil Legionnaire is third, but Beneficent will win it again. It's Trifolium who's put up a fine performance here to win the Frank Ward Solicitors Arthur Chase in great style.
So Brian, how are you?
Not too bad, I suppose. It's great to be home, and it's a long old week over there, but I was lucky. I had great people looking after me in good hospitals, and it's just good to be home now, really.
The talk of the town was that you were sort of seconds, minute amounts away from having your foot actually amputated. Is that an exaggeration, do you feel?
I think a lot of it was blown up by the press. You know, it was a bad break, and it was pretty bad. But you know, I was very well looked after, and I think it was blown up a lot by the press, and a lot of people thought the wrong thing first thought. Now there was a couple of stories going around that, you know, I won't lie, like there was a doubt at one stage, but they knew once they got back into place that it was okay, you know, and I was very well looked after. But I wouldn't read into all the stories that are going around the place, you know. It was blown up quite a lot.
A lot of your colleagues thought, you know, that could be it.
Yeah, but I knew myself, like once I got to Gloucestershire Hospital and they got it cleaned out and everything sorted, that I was 100% then, and really, like, it was just the case to get the operation and get the pin put down through it, you know, and they did a great job to me over there. From Gloucester to Bristol, Frenchy Hospital in Bristol, I couldn't thank them enough for what they'd done. You know, they put it back together, and if you were to look at the X-rays now, you'd say it's a lot better than what it was at the start.
It's interesting you just say that about the treatment you received, because there have been 1 or 2 question marks about how the Cheltenham authorities had dealt with people in the past. You were very happy with the way you were looked after.
I think I was very, very lucky it happened over there. You know, I was looked after so well by Sue Smith and Dr. McGoldrick, you know, and just the staff in Cheltenham alone, they were top gravy, you know. They couldn't have done any better job. And I think now I was just very lucky to be in a good place at the time.
For people exactly who don't know, it was the tibia and fibula, obviously in your right foot, leg, whatever you want to call it. There were doctors out there who said it was the worst they'd ever seen. You had a compound fracture, which was a combination of the bone coming through the skin, multiple fragments. It sounds an absolute nightmare. Does it actually hurt?
It was like, obviously it's sore, like it's the physical pain goes. Like once I got the painkillers and that, like the pain goes. You know, it's sore at the time, but in the space of 2 hours, like once everything's held into place, like the pain is gone. Really, you know, it's more the mental pain than anything else that you have to worry about. But
well, that moment when you're on the ground, Fred Winter Juvenile Hurdle, all you can hear is hooves off in the distance. I mean, do you look down and do you see bone? I mean,
yeah, well, obviously I got a couple of kicks and it took me a second or two to come around, but yeah, I knew straight away it was broken. I kind of just said to myself, not again, you know, it's second time in a year basically, you know. But then I just said,
do you really have time? Do you go through those thoughts?
I'd be thinking,
is my leg still hanging on?
That's what I said to myself, and it wasn't as sore as, I don't think it was painful as the time I did my femur. So it was frustrating, and obviously I had a lot of thoughts going through my head, but I was just, as I said, I was very well looked after, and I couldn't have been in a better place at the time.
The prognosis at the moment is what?
It's hard to know. If it starts healing right and everything goes according to plan, you're looking at 4 to 6 months. Maybe aim for the stall in September, but I won't know for another 2 weeks whether it is healing or not. But I got an X-ray last Friday, and from a doctor down home in Kerry, and he sent the X-rays up to a couple of people up here, and they said they couldn't believe the difference from the day it happened to now already, you know, you can barely tell where the break is, so which is very good. So if it starts knitting, I'd say we're looking at 4 to 6 months, which you'd settle with.
It's Beneficent and Bryan Cooper, 3 lengths to the good over Il Fenomeno and Sula Stew on the outside. They're inside the last 200 yards now, and it's Beneficent still there in front. Sula Stew is trying to cut into the lead, but it's Beneficent all the way now as they go toward the line. Beneficent and Bryan Cooper will win the Deloitte Novice.
We'll come on a little later in the conversation about the fact that you've done this before, but the fact you've done it twice, how worried as a jockey, because all sportsmen, of course, have niggling problems, but if they have the same one reoccurring, how worried are you that this is now a weakened part of your body as far as the future is concerned?
Well, it's 2 different bones. Now, I did my femur in May during the summer, which is the bone on top of your leg. It's one of the biggest bones in your body. And I did, obviously, my tib and fib in Cheltenham, which are 2 different bones and they're not connected in any sort of way. So, like, I've got plenty of falls all the winter long since I came back on my femur, and I got a couple of kicks in it and there was never any bother. So look, it's the game I'm in, and it's why I do it. You know, I'm not going to be going out thinking about it again when it happens. I'll be eager to get back, and hopefully it won't affect me.
So you sat here. I mean, if I had the injury you had, obviously I'm pathetic, but if I had the injury you had, I'd be thinking, the last thing I ever want to do is get on a horse. But are you only thinking about getting on a horse?
Yeah, when you leave the job, the horses I have to look forward to when I come back. You know, you've all them Cheltenham winners plus all the point-to-point winners that are coming out winning the 4-year-olds winning every week for the last 2 months. And you've all the young stock that they're buying as well. You know, when you've horses like that to look forward to coming back, it's definitely a big plus. You know, I'm in a very lucky position.
Oscar's Well and Beneficent on the and Oscar's Well's almost gone, and now Beneficent takes over and racing on up towards the finish, and Beneficent is the clear leader and going to win the Frank Ward Solicitors, and is the beneficiary of mistakes from Oscar Well and the exit of our Vika Legionnaire, and Beneficent and Bryan Cooper will win for Tony Martin.
Well, racing has always been in the blood, of course. Your old man, I call him Tommy, just like that, Cooper, but Tommy's a great character and, of course, had a terrific horse in recent times in for Paddy the Plasterer. But being a jockey is always something you wanted. I believe there was a pony called Snowy that you started off on, and that was basically it.
Yeah, that was it. I started off on him, and I went up a couple of bigger ponies, did plenty show jumping when I was younger, and it was always what I wanted to do. School was never an option.
You gave up the final years?
I gave up the final 2 years, yeah. It was never, if I had a day to get out of there, I was gone out there, any excuse at all, you know, but it was just something I wanted to do, and it was in my blood, and there was no stopping me, really, you know.
Holidaying at Desi Hughes's?
Yeah, holidays in Desi Hughes from when I was 12. I was very grateful. He took me in from when I was very young, you know, and I got unbelievable experience there. Riding work with the likes of Roger Locker and Paddy Flood, you know, they were all there. And when I was so young, to be riding and schooling with the likes of them who were riding all the top races was a big help to me, you know, because I'd already gained so much experience before I'd ever got a licence.
Obviously, you've got to be able to sit on a horse, but apart from that, with someone like Desi Hughes, none of us really know what he can install into you. What is it about sort of a legend of Irish racing like him that teaches you things? He
was just a great tutor, you know. He was a top class jockey himself, winning Champion Hurdle Gold Cup, and he had so much experience. I know it was a couple of years ago, but in a different time. But you know, nothing has really changed, and he just wanted me to do the best. You know, obviously he trusted me to ride all his horses, and there was a lot of days where he give out me for things that even for winning on horses, which I thought I kind of liked it because I knew that I was still needed to improve, and I think it was a help having someone there like him. Even, you know, if I was going out winning on horses and thinking I give that a great ride and coming in, and when you have someone there like Desi bringing you back down and telling you should have done this, even when you do win, I think they're the things that really matter, and it's definitely stood to me from where I am now. And you mixed it with Kevin Prendergast as well? Yeah, that's another where I got great experience. You know, I think that riding on the flat and riding work with like Declan McDonough, Chris Hayes, you know, that's really, really stood to me to when I did go jumping. You know, it's great experience for judge of pace, and just everything, the experience I gained there alone was very good. And your first winner, though, was for Tommy, wasn't it, on Rostara? What do you remember that day? Yeah, it was only my second ride over hurdles, and she'd won a bumper in Punchdown. I think, and she was nearly favourite. You know, she was a good mare, but there was no real pressure. It was a first run over hurdles, and she was just going out to have a good run, you know, and she won. So it was great to get off to a good start because I had a good few rides in the flat before and I struggled to ride a winner, but it was good to get off to a good start in the flat anyway.
Yeah, I mean, great start. And you were champion conditional quite quickly with a huge victory sort of thing. I mean, you just annihilated everyone else.
Yeah, my first full season, like that year I rode my first winner was just coming towards the end of the year, and I started then the following campaign. Can't remember what year it was now. It was 2008, 2009, I think. And that was my first full season. I was champion conditional. I rode 38 winners. And I was very lucky again, where I had Desi supporting me the whole year through as a claimer, riding all his horses during the winter, you know, graded races. I rode a couple of graded winners, and he stuck by me even when I had a claim. You know, when he could have used like a few professionals in the good races, he gave me the opportunity to ride in them good races, and it definitely stood to me as well.